Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back into my kitchen. Cooking with Carol Dianne, only today I'm not cooking. This is tea time conversation, chit-chat, just one-on-one, you and me. It's been a little while since I have jumped on and made a video because I've been kind of busy. I really have. So I left off going to my son's wedding, okay? Son officially gets married, yes. They've been living as common law husband and wife for quite a while, but now it's official. They have the certificate. She's taken his last name. Everything's great. Okay. Easter is over. I hope everyone had a very nice Easter this year. Mine was very quiet. Put all the Easter decorations away. Just have a few things around the house for spring. My to-do list, and before I get to that, I do want to shout out and thank everyone who has tuned into my last YouTube video on making me showing you how to make my panoramic sugar Easter eggs. Thanks, really. Now hopefully you'll go make your own. They're not really that hard. Just time consuming, really, but they're going to last you for a long time. So thank you for watching that. And the people that sent either comments or emails my way of saying, I remember those. Can't believe how many people on Facebook, when I put it on Facebook of showing what I did that week. Oh my gosh, it brought back so many memories to them. I'm glad. I really am. This week I got done. What did I get done? I got done that I planted an aspen tree. I had to replace one of my big giant trees. It just had died. I don't know. Didn't get enough water, I guess. I mowed and did weed eating. I put down the weed and feed on my grass so that it stays nice without the dandelions and all of that stuff. And then this week, yesterday, was go out to lunch with my ladies. So let me begin my talk of everything this week. Let me have some tea first. I chose my loose tea of my Willow Creek. This is lemon balm, spearmint, some daffodil, sapphire blue, cornflower, chrysanthemums. They're all in here, which is now all in here. So I'm going to have a little tea. Whoop, forgot my strainer. That's okay. I don't mind. Forgot I was having loose tea. I don't mind a few of the little leaves and different things that are in there. But got this one pretty full today. Okay, anyway, so this week it was go out to lunch with my lady friends. And we haven't done it in a little while. I mean, everybody's just been so busy. So I think we've kind of instead of 30 days, I think we went about 6 weeks that we haven't seen each other. Oh my gosh, that didn't seem to matter. We picked right back up where we left off. We really did. And I've said it before. My luncheons with these ladies are like a kickstart for the week for me. They really are. They are fun to be around. All of our different communications that we do, it was great. And so one of them had been to Texas visiting family, so we had to hear about that. One of them took a train ride, heard about that. And one of them brought, she's such a dear, it was Happy Earth Day yesterday. Did you know that? I didn't. I'd completely forgotten about it. So each one of us got one of these, just a little gift. And we don't do gifts every time we go out to lunch, usually just on kind of special occasions that we do gifts. Okay, and she decided to bring this, and inside, a little gift. Some of these cute little birds. Now, I collect these little birds. I don't remember what style they are, of who makes them or anything else, but they are the cutest little birds. And I thought, oh, yeah, that'll go with my other ones, you know, my other little birdies. So that was nice that she did that. It really was. And then she's always giving us information on something, whether it's politics, you know, something around town, something. And because we've kind of nicknamed ourselves the Golden Girls, because we're like that. We're of the age of that, and we just have so many similarities to, yes, the Golden Girls. Okay. Some of those out of there. She found a book. Apparently this was in the newspaper or something, the Associated Press, actually, down here where I live. And it's called Murder by Cheesecake. Golden Girls inspired cozy mystery. Is no comedy, but still nostalgic nugget. And I actually ordered the book on Amazon. And my best friend at the table, her name's Laura, and she said, well, maybe we should start a book club between all of us. And I said, I'm going to order the book. I'll read it. I'll let you know what I think. And then we'll talk about it the next time we come to lunch. So that was kind of fun. And I have no idea. I just know that when I was reading it on the internet, Murder by Cheesecake, Rachel Estrom Courage. That might be the author's name. I don't know. Anyway, I was reading, and they do use the characters Blanche and Sophia, Dorothy, all of us. They use the names in the book. So that's going to be kind of fun. It really is. So while we're having lunch, and we went to this place that they closed down at 2 o'clock. We met there at noon. They're only open. Get all my tea off the table. They only open or stay open until 2. And so it was getting about 1:45. And I'm very observant of who is around me anywhere, but even at lunch, because I'm thinking, are we getting too loud as ladies? Are we laughing too much? Are we talking about crazy subjects that maybe other people don't know? Or are they kind of listening? So out of the corner of my eye in back was a booth, because we were at a table. It was a booth with a lady that was sitting there all by herself having lunch, okay? And I kind of turned around a couple of times, not to make it real obvious, but I was just kind of looking around me. And a couple of times she was either giggling kind of to herself or had a great big smile on her face. So I know she was listening to our conversation. I just felt it. I really did. So before I got ready to leave, I went over to her. I just kind of got up from my chair like I do. Yeah, that tastes good. And I have little business cards that I've made for my YouTube channel of Cooking with Carol Dianne. CookingWithCarolDianne.com on my website. I have my email address on there and how to find me on YouTube to watch my cooking videos. Because people ask me, well, how do I get to you or whatever? And a lot of people forget I have 2 N's in Dianne. So when you're typing in on YouTube, Cooking with Carol Dianne, I've got the 2 N's. Okay. So I handed her my card and I said, I think you've been listening to us over here. Yeah, she says, you girls, she says, I needed this today. Okay, that made me kind of feel good. And I said, well, I do a cooking video in my home and I put it on YouTube. Maybe you would like to watch some of my videos. Oh, yeah, she would. Okay, so I left the card with her. Then as she's getting ready to get up and leave, and she had on a bright yellow top. She really did. Okay, so best friend over here sitting by me. The lady stops at our table and she says, I don't know when I've enjoyed a conversation more. You ladies really did perk me up today, something to that effect. Wonderful. I said, you are more than welcome to join us right now or at our next one. I said, we do this once a month, sometimes twice a month. Best friend over here opens her mouth and says to her, wow, you must like yellow because this is a strong, like a canary yellow, only even a little bit deeper yellow than that of this shirt she had on, kind of a long blouse looking shirt. And she had on black jewelry. I do remember that. Striking. And she says no, she really doesn't, but that's what she wore yesterday. Okay, so we all kind of giggled about that at the table. What she did say is that she had just gotten her nails done and she showed her nails and they were gorgeous, someplace close by where we were eating. And she said, I just finished getting puffed and buffed. Or buffed and puffed. Or puffed and buffed. Or however you say that saying. I can't remember what she said now. Cracked me up at the time. And that she, stopped there to have lunch. So my friend Laura asked her for her name and her phone number. So on a piece of paper, I think it was just on this, to tell you the truth, she's writing down her name, which is Rhonda, and her phone number. And I did too, because I thought, oh, I'm not letting this go by. I'm all for somebody that's interested in, lady talk of our age, wants to join a group. We're not even a group. We're just I guess we are kind of. Like I said, I knew these gals way back when I started teaching my class at the college. They took my class, and it started from there, and we've just continued all this time, and they've been really, really good friends. So I'm hoping to pull in Rhonda at our next luncheon. So that was the Golden Girls luncheon yesterday. We got out of there right at 2 o'clock, and then we went to the thrift store. Why not? It's senior day, Tuesday, it's senior day at our thrift store. So we went down there for a little while. Okay, so what else have I been doing this week? Well, this one will crack you up, maybe blow you away. I don't know. So a month ago, I don't know if any of you out there watch Dateline, but every now and then I do. And actually, husband and I both sat down, and we were watching the Dateline with Keith Morrison that night. And he was doing a jailhouse interview with a 51-year-old woman named Lori Vallow Daybell. She's called the Doomsday Mom. Don't know if you've heard this case. She was up in Idaho. Okay. I, among thousands of people that watched the program, famous case, and millions are watching. I didn't even know about what happened in 2019. But she's in prison up there in Idaho. Okay. So the first week in April was her trial in Arizona. And she had said in Dateline that, Keith, I've got a trial coming up. Okay. So the trial in Chandler, Arizona was murder conspiracy charges, okay, for the murder of her fourth husband. Now, why do I watch these trials, or maybe I get interested in this? Well, actually, it's helping me with my fictional books. This woman has 2 trials, one in April and one in June, okay? So I wanted to watch it. The Doomsday Mom, that's her title, is a bizarre story. Some have said my second novel, The Chicken Scratches, has a lot of twists and turns. Well, this is a real life story. The Doomsday Mom sure has that of the twists and turns in this story. So it all goes back to 2019. And I'm just going to kind of give you a summary of what I've been listening to all week, because it's absolutely fascinating for all kinds of different aspects of life. Okay, so the mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, she had, on her 4th marriage, she had a son named Colby. Colby is almost 29 years old, and now, anyway, he wasn't that in 2019. He is going to be 29 years old shortly. And by the way, Colby has his own YouTube podcast, and he's using it as therapy. Yeah. Healing from all the horrific tragedy that his mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, has caused. Lori had a daughter after Colby, 16 years old in 2019, by her 3rd husband, who was named Joseph Ryan. Now, Mr. Ryan dies, and she remarries Charles Vallow, okay? They adopt a little boy named JJ, I think around 2 years old, I can't remember that one, who has autism. And anyway, he's 7 years old in 2019. So, she's been married 5 times, okay? The headlines everywhere on the trial up in Idaho was money, power, sex, $1 million life insurance policy, cult religion, LDS, beliefs in Nephi, delusional behavior, manipulation, marital affair, and fraud. Zombies and a percent for murder, number for murder. Have I got you hooked yet? The deaths are husband Charles Vallow, brother Alex Cox, Tylee and JJ, they're both the children, Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife for 30 years. So Charles Vallow dies, not Chad, there's too many C's. Charles Vallow dies July 11th, 2019. Alex Cox, Lori's brother, shoots and kills him. One day after Tammy Daybell body is exhumed and now is a murder, Alex Cox dies mysteriously. Tylee dies, and then JJ, and they're found in Chad Daybell's, what he calls pet cemetery, in his backyard up there in Idaho. So the evidence will show, that went on all week long. The evidence will show forensic science, cell phones of their data, GPS, text messages, so phone calls, witnesses that took the stand to testify. Big, big stuff. Okay, so spoiler alert. Lori Vallow Daybell in July of 2023. Lori is serving 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder of her 2 children and conspiracy charges, and the murder of Tammy. Conspiracy charges, fraud charges of Social Security money. Yeah. And all this is up in, well, right now where she is in Salem, Idaho, in the prison up there. Chad Daybell, life in prison. He's on death row. Oh, yeah. The latest trial of Lori Vallow Daybell, the one I watched this week, was in Chandler, Arizona. And again, the murder conspiracy of Charles Vallow were the charges. And guess what? Lori herself decides to represent herself at trial. No lawyers. Advisors, but no paying lawyers. Bad idea. Okay, so that goes on. Then we had, let's see what happens after that. The verdict was read yesterday while I was at my lunch. I waited until I got home to play it because there's a delay. There was a 30-minute delay every day, and it went for 7 days. They allowed 5 to 6 weeks, and it only went for 7 days. Yeah. The state had their you-know-what put together. They really did. So the verdict was, spoiler alert, guilty. Okay. And that was conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Charles Vallow back in July of 2019. Last Wednesday, the state rests. They're done. They got all their witnesses done that they wanted. They had all their, like I said, the cell phone data, text messages, everything that they wanted the jury and everyone else to hear. They're done. Then on Monday, they wait clear until Monday for Lori to rest, and she's not going to testify. Okay, that's all done and over. Then the judge comes out, and he reads, of course, the jury instructions. There were 12 jurors, 2 women, and the rest were men. The closing statement from the state was read. Fantastic closing. Then Lori gets up there and does her closing. Okay, who again is defending herself. And the state did their closing in a 3-part thing. Again, they did the facts, they did the witness testimony, and there was a couple of them that were pretty intense. Text messages, phone calls, the motive again, the $1 million life insurance policy, the affair with Chad Daybell, religious beliefs of zombies and Nephi, all in Lori's eyes that she thought she was justified in having her brother and her kill her husband. There was 47 minutes that went by that Alex did not call 911 after he shot his brother-in-law. There was no CPR done by Alex onto Charles after he shot him. So again, people may say, well, why do you watch stuff like that, Diane? I watch tons of videos, and I've watched tons on this of everything from law enforcement videos that have been done, the FBI interviews, jurors from past trials, their interviews. It's all on the internet for you to see. Almost everything is of your life. Type in your name sometime and see what comes up on the internet. It's kind of fascinating. The heartbreaking details of how they found the children. And no, they're not showing the autopsy pictures and all that to us, watching the trial. The jury got to see it, and everybody in that courtroom got to see it. I've heard today that the judge did seal all of that. There's like 96 or 98 different exhibits that they were going through, and all of it's sealed forever. Okay, the heartbreaking thing that I kind of investigated and watching was, it's sad for this 16-year-old girl and this 7-year-old little boy. They found a charm, a silver charm where Tylee's remains had been found, and they could prove pings off of Alex Cox's phone was close to Chad Daybell's house when all this was going on at the pet cemetery. Phone and text messages that Alex had to help Charles was, again, lots of ground breaking. Just there it is right in front of you that he did this with Chad Daybell. Okay. So in this week of all this going on, of all the trial of all of that, and you're just kind of glued to it, what's going to happen next? The current headlines right then this week were of that Karen Reed story, which I have not picked up and watched her trial. This one took the cake. It really did. In June, she's got her last trial, and that will be attempted first-degree murder charges on her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Burdell. He actually had to identify the little 7-year-old boy, JJ. Heartbreaking. So Brandon's story is that he was driving home, and it's a long story on each one of that. And if you want to go from, after you look all this up on the internet and you think, wow, this is some soap opera, but remember, it's real life, and there's a lot of real people involved, families, friends, relatives, everything that have been devastated for 6 years on all of this. Okay. So on Brandon's story is that he was going home, and there was a Jeep that was pretty much pulled up by his driveway, and somebody shot at his window, and it was another Donald Trump thing, missed his head by inches, and could have been dead. That man's lucky to be alive. He really is. And he's telling the police in an interview that it was a Jeep, and the Jeep he had the VIN number to from Charles Vallow of Researching Car Insurance, I guess. And it belonged to Tylee, the 16-year-old, but Tylee wasn't driving the Jeep. He's pretty sure, 100% sure in his mind, that it was Alex Cox that was trying to kill him. There was a tire rack on the back of the Jeep that he remembers there was no tire, and it always was on there. And then there's video. Look it up on the internet. I did. There actually is a video of Lori and, let's see, who is it? It is Lori and Chad Daybell. Yeah, on October 2nd of 2019. They roll the tire from Lori's car into the storage locker. And then a couple of days later, or the next day, whatever it was the next day, Lori and Alex return to that storage locker, and they take the tire out of the storage locker and put it in Lori's car. Hope they play that video at Brandon's trial. I really do. Lori had branded, so to speak, this Brandon Bordeaux as a zombie. He was another one that needed to be killed. I'm sure there'll be a movie made of this story, books that are written and already have been written. So whether you like a murder mystery of a true story or a fictional one, the Golden Girls, this murder by cheesecake thing that I'm going to read, keep in mind, one is real and indicates real people, their pain and anguish for their lives. It's going to continue for a very, very long time. Closure is something that I hope some can find. And for Colby, he's got a long road ahead of him, that boy. He really does. I'll pray he finds inner strength to accept what has happened and can go on with his life. He broke clear down. He says anyway, he was late and absolutely couldn't get there in time for the verdict day yesterday. And because he does his own podcast, he decided to watch the trial, the guilty verdict, with you on his podcast, and he broke clear down. This has been a devastating thing to him, his family, everybody, because his family's wiped out. His uncle's dead. His stepdad that raised him is dead. Both his sister and brother are dead. And then the man that his mother marries, his wife of 30 years, is dead. All from what? His mother, Lori, of which he in between calls her mother sometimes. Most of the time it's just Lori. That he's trying to come to terms with all this. Now, I think the YouTube videos of what people want to do, just like when I sit here and talk tea time of whatever's on my mind, that type of thing. I think these podcasts, whatever you want to call them, they're sitting there, because I don't have a microphone right here, and saying mine's a podcast, and having other people come in and talk with me. There's still a video being put on YouTube for all to see. And in that, just keep in mind, everybody can make a video. They really can. I think Colby is giving the psychiatrists and psychologists a run for their money because, and maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, I don't know. But his therapy of getting on and talking about this and having other people just pour out their love and understanding for this young man, I think is wonderful. I really do. Why pay thousands of dollars to go see a psychiatrist? Yes, they're trained professionals, supposed to be, to do that when he is getting answers just like that from other people. And right, wrong, or indifferent. You could say, well, they're not helping him because they're not a professional. Well, I think some of them are. From what I've been listening to of his podcast, people are chiming in that do have the credentials to say, you're going to get through this, Colby. Just take it one day at a time. You're going to get through this. It was a horrible thing that happened. But we have to do the checklist now and mark it off. She's in prison, 3 life sentences consecutively. She's not going to get out. There is no, without any way to get out of prison. There she is. But we got to add this charge to her, this other guilty charge of whatever they give. And in Arizona, it's different than Idaho. I don't know if she'll get 25 years or another life sentence. I don't know. Of course, that'll be up to the judge. But the families, Charles Fallow, who everything I have heard about this man through videos of people talking, like I said, FBI agents, just everything, family members that come on and talk, he was a darn nice guy. And he didn't deserve to be murdered the way he did. One bullet straight through his heart, another one, Alex stood at his feet and shot him, and it came out his shoulder. And it's like, that's an execution in my eyes, you know. They said the medical examiner said he could have had 1 to 2 minutes of still being alive, even having the shot through his heart, because his hand, I think, touched the wound area because he had blood all on just his left hand. And he could have said something, he could have spoke. He could have even just said, "You shot me," and then died or something. And maybe that was the reason for Alex saying, "Well, he's not dead yet, I'll give him another one." I don't know. You know, I don't know. All I know is it would have, I don't like to be called for jury duty for so many reasons. But years ago, when they used to call me, I did get out of the conflict of interest because my kid's dad was in law enforcement. And we knew all the officers, we knew the judges, we knew everybody, and that wouldn't have been right. Now, in my golden years, when I look at jury duty, I'm sorry, the emotional strain of it all, I don't know that I could take it. And I've always been like this. I have an uncanny way of kind of reading people or body language alone. I would have said she was guilty on day one, really. Her demeanor among everything, and you'll hear about this from jurors that are speaking out now about what her demeanor was. It was not normal, no. So I wanted to share that. That you think, what does Diane do in her life? Well, this week I've been watching a trial, pretty heavy. Well, last week. And the conclusion of it yesterday. And going out to lunch with my ladies was quite fun. I am going to get busy now. I'm going to make another walk around my yard for spring. I have had a couple of emails on that begging me to please walk around my yard and show what's kind of come up in my area for spring, what maybe I've planted new or whatever, giving them ideas, you know, for their own yard, greenhouse, whatever. And I have done a couple of things, so I'm going to do that. I may do that in this evening. I like to wait till the sun is down just a little bit because there's such a glare if I don't. So I'll be going over that of doing my 2005 spring walk around my yard. And that'll be kind of fun too. Lots going on, it really has. But I just wanted to pop on and say, got through the wedding, got through Easter, and I'm going to go read this book just as soon as it gets in. I think it's coming in tomorrow, actually, and it's not a very long one, and I'll sit down and read that and tell you my thoughts on that, how I like that little murder mystery type thing that is fictional, but this trial wasn't fictional. It happened in real life. And I am anxious now in June to see what happens with they haven't sentenced her yet. She opted to have her sentence after the last trial in June. I mean, I think it starts halfway through May, like May 14th or something. I don't know how long it'll go, but it might wind up the first week in June that we'll have an answer on that. And then they'll combine, I guess, both sentences. If she's found guilty on that last one, they'll combine it or whatever. Either way, we'll find out the result. I found it interesting. This is a high-profile case. It's been everywhere. And yet on the news, they barely mention it because, like I said, they're off on this other lady who apparently tried to kill her husband, or not husband, but boyfriend or something. I don't know. I don't really know that story yet because I haven't looked into it. But that's been my week. And I'm still here plugging along like you do. And I hope you are too. I hope you sit down and have tea with me to hear my crazy conversation of what goes on. And I really hope that this new lady, Rhonda, joins my ladies for our afternoon of lunch. I really do. She just looked, I could just tell in her face that she needed us. For whatever that is, She needs a group of ladies to make her laugh and smile, and that's what we do. And even my best friend said, and no conversation is off limits. It's like, okay, we'll see how that goes. But again, I'm just checking in with you. Hope you're having a wonderful spring afternoon. And this is From My Kitchen to Yours. I'll catch you next time on Cooking with Carol Diane on my little side area of tea time. Bye-bye now.